All right, so I believe we are still in recap week, right? This whole week. And starting from next week, we will start React, new concept, new projects. Cool. So today we will continue on a node application, and we're going to use our so let's just recap for a second, right? So last time we said that our if we have a front-end application and if we deploy our files to the server, when we reach to this when we reach that URL, we were receiving those files into our computer, and then our browser was basically loading the UI for us, right? But what was the Node server about? Node.js, as we said, that it's a runtime environment, right? And we can run a JavaScript code outside the browser. Now, if we write a code in our computer and then we upload it to a server, uploading meaning like deploying to the server, our code will be running in right here. It will not be pull it down to our browser and run the code in the browser. Our code will be running in the server side. Okay, so we'll create a Node application, and we'll connect our application, Node application, to Firestore specifically. But if we will have time, we'll try to connect to a local file system or MongoDB, right? Postgres has a little bit different setup. We need to install Postgres onto our computer and then run that Postgres database, but we're not going to be doing it. We will just utilize for MongoDB, if time allows, from MongoDB Atlas. No, it's not. MongoDB Atlas, right? We'll utilize from this database that provided by the MongoDB. But first of all, we'll start looking into Firestore. Why we do the Firestore right now? Because I believe you guys will have a graduation project that is connected to the Firestore, or basically use the Firebase. Okay, so the Google Firestore is provided by Google, right? Google Firebase is a comprehensive platform provided by Google for developing mobile and web applications. It offers various services and tools that help developers build, improve, and grow their applications. Firebase includes services for authentication, real-time database, cloud storage, hosting, messaging, analytics, and more. The specific thing that we are looking for is Cloud Firestore. Okay, so the Firestore is a flexible, scalable, NoSQL document database for mobile, web, and server development. It supports flexible data models, real-time updates, offline data persistence, and powerful querying. Okay, so it's provided by Google. If I type Firebase, try again. Back to the homepage. Yeah, we'll go over this process when we reach that point. Right. So before we start on our Node application, I want you guys to consider one thing. Right. So when we install Node, when we install Node.js into our computer, we will be installing the latest version, right? So it says downloads Node.js version 2012.2. Okay, that's the latest version. But the Node itself has a lot of different versions. It says want new features sooner, get Node.js, for instance. This is the latest It's this one LTS is long time support, but this one is, I think it's a beta version, which may not be suitable for us. But if you download Node.js, download this one right here. So it's recommended for all developers. Okay, but why do we have different types of um, versions for Node, and how can we switch between the versions, right? So why do we have different versions of Node.js? It's depends on different concepts, right? Feature updates. New versions of Node.js often include new features, improvements, and optimizations. Um, and the new versions can include the bug fixes and security patches, etc. Okay, that's why we have different versions of Node.js. But the thing about having a different versions is that if you write a code Node.js application in one version, you may not be able to run that code in a different version. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to switch to that version and then run your code. Let's say you wrote a code in version 14. Okay, and later on you basically updated your Node.js version on your computer, and let's say Node.js version 18. But you wrote your code in Node.js version 14, and if you try to run your code in Node.js version 18, it will not be compatible. Okay, so you have to switch back to 14 and then run your code. So the thing about how can we switch in between these Node.js versions is with the help of NVM. Now, who can tell me what's the NPM stands for?
So yeah, package management system.
Yes, it's just the Node Package Manager, right? What does NVM stands for? It's Node Version Manager. Okay, basically this one, everything that we have inside package.json will be dealt with this NPM, but all the versions that are downloaded into this machine, into this computer, will be managed by NVM command. Okay, so we need to, if you haven't downloaded this NVM, please download it. I do have instructions over here. If I can find it. My goodness, I was just looking at it. Okay, here we go. Gonna be in the Zoom chat. Okay, Node Version Manager. So different projects on your device may be using different versions of Node. Using only one version, the one installed by NPM for these different projects may not give you accurate execution results. Right? If you have a code written in version 10, you may get some errors, like this project requires Node version, etc. Yeah, just go through this process, and if you are in Windows, there's a process to download NVM for Windows. Okay, so once you do that, NVM-v will tell you which version you are on. This is not NPM version. The NPM version is different. Okay. So in order to see the how many Node versions are installed, we can just do NVM list. As you guys can see, I have different versions installed on my machine. And the latest one is this one right here. Now, if I say NVM install latest, it will install the latest version of Node. Okay, it's right over here. You can install Node versions like this. NVM install latest will install whatever we have down here, the latest. We can try now. NVM install latest. Not found, try nvm ls remote to browse available versions. At latest. Interesting. Maybe just nvm install 8 use run ls version install node LTS. Okay. Install the latest LTS version. That's the one. Install /LTS. Downloading and installing version 12.2. If I say nvm list again. All right, so this is the my previous version, and they changed something, I guess, and then that's the latest version. 12.2, yes. So it's downloaded this LTS version. Now it's changing, okay? But if I say node dash v, that's the version I'm looking at it right now. Node version right now currently. If I would like to switch, then I can say nvm use, for instance. I can write a specific version like this. Okay, nvm use. I'm using node. Now you might have different versions of starting from 17, right? Let's say 17.8.2, not 17.9.1. So if you have different versions of 17, then you can also do just 17 instead of typing the whole thing. And it will just use the version that you have installed on your computer. You can also switch back to 16 like this. Now it's using 16.20.0. All right, cool. So let's get started. I do have Node.js folder opened right now. In order to start a Node application, the command was what? npm init, right? When we create a GitHub repo, we were running git init. In order to start Node application, we need to run npm init. But of course, if you like to push your Node application to GitHub, you still have to run git init to push your Node application to GitHub. Okay, but first of all, we just start with git npm init. Now, if you run npm init, as you guys have seen last time, it was asking a bunch of questions, right? We can skip those questions by providing a flag called y. Basically, it says that just answer yes for every single question that you are planning to ask running this command. Okay, yes means take the default answers. Okay, so if I did npm init, so package name Node.js, okay, click it, version, okay, that's fine. We don't have to do that. Right? What we can do here is that npm init dash y, okay, npm init dash y will answer those default answers and create a package.json file for us. As you guys can see, package.json file has been created for us. And we can definitely change those specific sections that you would like to change. All right. We need to add some scripts. First, let's just add a script for development environment. We can say node mom server.js. Okay, so we'll create a server.js now. It can be any name, app.js, server.js, index.js, main.js, whatever you like to create it. It's up to you guys. Server.js and nodemon server.js. Now, I believe I explained what does the nodemon already does, right? It's just Every time we make some changes to the servers.js file and save it, it will automatically update our code, automatically run our code. That's the whole thing. So for that, we need to install npm install -d node1. Now, what's the -d means? It means dev dependency. Okay, so we have dependencies and we have dev dependencies. Dev dependencies are those packages used for development environment only. We're not going to be using in production environment. Okay, but dependencies are, we definitely need those packages for our production environment or for your personal use. Those packages definitely need to be there so that our node application can run. Otherwise, it cannot be run. So node1 is only for development environment. So you can either run npmi -D node1 or shall see npm I --save dev node1. Okay, those are same commands.
Azamat, excuse me,
Yes.
is it the first class about the Node.js or second?
This is second class, yes.
Oh yeah, I just feel that I missed some part. Okay.
Yeah, last time we created a simple Node.js file. Okay,
This
that was it.
this package JSON is just like additional thing to build our project, right?
Yes, if you install third-party packages like Express, like Axios, Firebase, for instance, right?
Mhm.
We need to install those packages onto this Node project. Now, Node by itself comes with a lot of built-in packages, right? For instance, fetch or require, etc. We can use, or file system, for instance, we can utilize with those. But some of the third-party packages needs to be installed in order to implement those, in order to use those packages in our application.
How exactly it will help to our project?
Which one?
I mean the package JSON, this all of this informations. What contains all of this object, this information?
This package.json?
Yes, it's just
Yeah, the package just so every time you create a node application, it will provide you a package.json file automatically. Or you can, instead of npm init, you can just create a package.json and then run npm install command. Okay. What npm install command does is it looks the package.json file and it looks the dependencies and also it looks dev dependencies and it will install those packages and create node modules right here. It will create the node modules package. Now this, why there's a lot of files there? Every single file is needed. Basically, nodemon, when you install the nodemon is not only single file, okay? It is, for instance, this file system is a prerequisite for this file system just in case, okay? That's all of them. All of these files are required for the nodemon to work. All right, so as soon as you have a package JSON, when we did npm init-y, it did not create node modules. It just created package.json for us. But as soon as I did npm install nodemon, it created node modules. Node modules contains all of the packages, their child packages, and the prerequisite packages that is related to these dev dependencies or dependency packages. Now, do we have nodemon right here? You see that? Nodemon is right here. Okay.
and the one, and so for what do we need all of these things? Just
Like these guys, or which one is looking? This one?
everything like what you installed already, not
So
JSON. For what
this,
we
yeah,
need.
this one is provided I mean, these are the default stuff that we need to have for Node project. Okay, Node is Node.js demo. Is to grab the folder name. Version is just the version.
Yes.
For the description, you can type, this is my whatever you would like, right? Node app. And the index.js, no, it has to be server.js. We need to change it, of course. Server.js, main server.js, and scripts. Script is to run this application. Now, we don't have to have test, that's fine, but we have to have a dev, node-man server, and also a start. Node server.js. Okay, so this one will be when we will use this command when we deploy our application. But this one is only for development. This one is only for development. Now, if I say console.log, hello, okay, what are the ways that I can run this JavaScript file? One of them is node server.js, right? It's printing out hello. The other one is, right? The other one is node-man server.js. Maybe it's not recognizing that node-man is not installed globally. Okay, that's why it says. But how can we run these scripts? You can either run npm run dev, or npm run start, or npm run test. Whatever you see in the scripts, we can run these commands by running npm run. For instance, let's just run dev. Okay, now my application is running and then it's expecting some, waiting for changes before restart. Anytime I make some changes and save the file, it will refresh the file itself, the contents, and then re-execute the code. And it will print out whatever I wrote in my server.js file. So these are the default things that we need for our application. Now, it was just generated by default when we run npm init-y. Okay? Do not don't confuse, like don't get stuck into too much detail. Right? So the package JSON provides some high-level information about our application. That's it.
Azamat, so yeah, to run npm init, do we need to have Node version 20, so the latest LTR version or any?
No, you can have any version.
Okay, anywhere. But you mentioned about that it will not, if you develop something in that Node version, it will not run in other versions of Node.
That is correct. Yes, because the node is changing all the time, right? So if you wrote a code in Node version 14, for instance, right now we have latest version 20. Okay, so your code may not be compatible with the one that's the latest one, because there's a lot of feature updates, the bug fixes, security patches, etc. Okay, so you might have to switch back to version 14 in order to run your code. This happens a lot with the React applications. Okay, like 2 years ago, if we wrote a React application in version 16, now we have version 20, for instance. Now, I've seen those a lot. If I run my React application in the current latest version, it says not compatible. So I have to switch back to version 16 and then run my application.
Yeah, in this case, yeah, I just realized that my Node version was super old one, so it's 7. If I install, for example, 20, so version 20, all my code will run on on the latest one or not?
Well, there might be some errors though. So what do you mean like 7? Like, did you check a node.p or did you
Yeah,
did
that's I did npm.
Oh, so
Yeah,
npm
I did. Oh, so you mean Node or npm? Which one? Yeah, because now it's
Node.
installing the latest one, 20. Oh my,
I'm talking about the node.
Node. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you know,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I checked npm, not Node. Then okay, got it.
Yeah.
I confused. Yep. Thank you. I will check it as soon as done.
All right. Cool. So dev dependencies, we need to have node_mon so that our application refreshes itself every time we make some changes. All right, cool. I think up until now we have been doing export and import, right? That's for ESM. Did we explain to you guys the require? Require?
I think no.
Okay. Yeah, so let's just go with the require. By default, right? By default, even if you don't type anything, this file, this project has a type of what? CommonJS. It says default value right here. Okay. Unless you put module, so they can use import and export. By default, it's CommonJS. So when it's CommonJS, how do we import and export files? Now, we export and import files with the help of Node.js built-in methods. Okay. Built-in methods. And one of them is require. It comes with Node.js. So we need to understand modular programming. Now, why do we have, what's the meaning of modular programming?
Yeah, modular when you are separating your code into different kind of files, kind of organizing, right? Code to reuse
Yes,
it later.
exactly. Yep, that's the definition right there. So modular program means that creating a modules, meaning that separating our code into different files and then importing and exporting those functions or whatever you have in your different files into the main file. Okay, so in Node.js, modules are crucial for creating an efficient and reusable code. Okay, one of the options we have is CommonJS, and we'll try to convert that to ECMAScript module, right? ESM, which comes from ES6. Okay, cool.
Azamat, so yeah, what is the difference? So import, export, and require. I thought that require is kind of old version, and import, export is new. Is it correct or no?
Yes, import and export comes with the ES6, right? So just like we
Yeah.
have just like we have a async and await, right?
Mhm.
Import and export comes with ES6. And CommonJS is prior to the ES6, right? Before ES6, every file needs to be imported by require. Now we have ES6, and ES6 comes with the import and export, and it's very easy to import and export files. Now we'll see the difference and the use cases for that. Okay, so let's see this. Let me see if I have a user.js file. Okay, and let's create a constant get name. Okay, how do I export this function with in CommonJS without the type module? What we can do here, we can use exports. Exports, get name. Okay, it says the file is CommonJS module. It may be converted to an ES module, which we will do it later. Okay, it says import get name, etc. This is how we can export anything from a different file and import it right over here. Now, how do I import it over here? I can do constant user and require and put the file name user. Okay, so in my user.js, let me just type console.log Alex. Okay, so in right over here, if I say user dot get name and invoke the function, I should see Alex. Okay, so this user, whatever you import from here, okay, basically exports is an object. Export is an object, and get name is a property inside the object. When you do require user, whatever is being exported from this file, we will put inside an object. So this user is an object itself, right? You can name it anything, doesn't matter. What we can do here, destructuring. We can destructure this user object, destructure, and get the get name. And doing so, we can invoke our regular function, and it will result the same thing. Okay, this is how we import any function from a different file, and this is how we export. Now, what if I have multiple functions? Get name 2, get name 1. Okay, we can do the same way. Get name 1, get name 2, get name 1, get name 2. John. So now it says that we don't have get name 1, of course. I need to do get name 1, get name 1, and get name 2. Copy and put it like this. Okay, Alex and John, as you guys can see, Alex and John is printed in the console.
Is it just in the case if we will choose type common instead of module?
Yes, just in case if you just but by default the type is CommonJS. You don't have to type anything here. But if you would like to use the ESM, then you need to type right here, type module. Okay, it will just automatically appears by itself. Okay, type module. But if you use CommonJS, it's just by default. You don't have to type anything in the package.json. It will be considered as CommonJS.
Yeah. Azamat is the only bad thing in type model. You remember when we write on click name of some function, he doesn't recognize the name of function. You remember?
Yes.
Is it the only thing? You said, yeah, you need to use window to recognize this name of function.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but I don't think it was related to this one though. So when we were using type module, we were importing some data from a different file. Okay, we could have just done with the require to that one.
Okay.
So I think that if you don't have a type module and if you convert that import and export to with this required, right? So what we can do here, let's say we used to have this one like this, data is equal to array, okay, and then ID, let's just say 1, and name Alex, etc. Okay, and then we can export this. You can convert that import and export in your application without the type module, right? In the index HTML, we set that script. In the script tag, we set type module. You can remove that type module, and whatever you have import and export, convert this to with the require, the common JS, and then try that without the window that the function name that we did. Now we said that as soon as we put the type module, it's not gonna work. The functions for on click, right? Try to convert that. If it works, it should work, obviously, right? Because we said type module, it's not working. And without the type module, it was working. It should work. So convert that.
Yeah, I got it. Yes, I
Right.
see.
And we are getting our data like this. So the other thing is that you don't have to let me create. Let's say you can grab this guy right here, and you don't have to create a function like here and then put the function name. You can create function name like this and put the function itself over here like this. Okay, it's going to be the same thing. Now, if you get it over here, it's going to be get name 3. You can use that. What else? So how about exporting a default value, right? So when we export it, we are exporting functions or files like this, right? Data like this, and individually. Okay. But if we have a if we have a file that exports only one thing, if it exports only one thing, we can do with the help of a module that exports. Okay, so module that exports and exports is exactly the same thing. If I say console.log module, okay, console.log module, pay attention right here, exports right here, okay? Module.exports is exactly the same thing as exports. Basically, if you said module.exports get name 3 and others just exports, okay? Now, let me bring it down over here. Let's check the module.exports now. Right here, okay? So as you guys can see, whether we export our functions like this with just an exports name or with the module.exports doesn't make any difference, right? It will just still be exported like this. And it says anonymous function because we just wrote the function directly. Now, the main difference, right? There's a slightly small difference is that when you export, let me export this one all the way at the end. Okay. Let's say when I export with the module that exports, what's the word I'm looking for? So let me write the git right over here. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me set up this function first before I explain to you guys. Now I brought this get name 3 over here, and when I use module.exports is equal to get name 3. Now, what do you guys think my module.exports contains? it will eliminate these guys from exports.getName, and it will just my exports will contain only this getName. But basically, we're just reassigning our module.exports with getName function only. Then now module.exports will not contain any of these because we are what? Just reassigning this module.exports. Okay, so doing this one, we are exporting only one file, one function. That's it. But if you do this one, okay, module.exports was already an object, and inside the object, we are only exporting this guy right here. Whatever we have down here, we're just overriding it. GetName1 is not a function. GetName1 is not a function. Is it inside our type error? GetName is not a function. Yeah, server.js, getName1. Oh, okay. So yeah, as you guys can see right here, exports right here. As I was saying, right? Exports, we are only exporting this guy right here. Whatever you wrote right here, it will be overridden by whatever we are exporting like this. Okay. Now, instead of exporting all of these functions individually like exports.getName, we can just put all of them like this. Basically, we are exporting an object, and inside the object, we can just destructure it, and we can just eliminate these guys. Now, if I check my exports right here, contains everything, every single thing. And it's printing out all the outputs in the console.
Can we also remove module jet without, can we use only exports and use the same way without module?
You're talking about this?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
is it
should
going
be
to be the same?
yes. Exports is
I think it should be without equal sign, no?
no, it's if you do that one, then it's gonna be ESM. You cannot do that. That's for
Oh,
ESM.
okay.
Okay, that's gonna be for ESM. Export. No, it shouldn't be like that. No, exports. Well, I think well, I guess we cannot use that. So by individually, we can use exports.getName like this. But if you'd like to collectively try to export all of them, we need to use module. I mean, it does make sense to use without the module, but I guess it's not allowed. So yeah, we have to use module.exports. Okay, cool. So So we also have default export. Now in ESM we said export default. Let's say we're exporting some start function. Oh, Control Z. Okay, let's say we have a function, or let's just we have a data. Okay, we're just exporting like this. Now this the same representation in CommonJS would be module.exports. Okay, so module.exports module.exports. Now everything that we export from here, it's not going to be visible. What's visible is without the curly braces, you can just say data. Okay, without the curly braces, we can say data. Now, if you do curly braces, it's not default export. Okay, it's not export default. Without the curly braces, it's going to be a default export. Now, basically, we are overriding whatever we have over here with the single data. Now, if you have a file that contains only the data, this is how you can export. But if you have multiple functions or multiple variables in a single file, you can either do constant export constant get name individually, or put it inside one object and export everything like this, module.exports. Now, how about, is there any questions related to this export import in the CommonJS version? All right, cool. So how can we convert this to regular? The only thing we need to do what? Package.json, change the type to module. Now, as you guys can see, the reference require is not defined in ES module scope. You can use import instead. And for that's what we are going to do. Now, in the ESM version of importing and exporting, instead of doing export.getName name function name, we can just put directly export constant get name. Okay, for each individual variables or functions, we can do that. Same thing for export constant data. Export constant data. So now over here, we need to do import data get name 2, get name 3 from user. Okay, of course we need to put that JS file at the end. Now we are able to see our data over here, and we should be able to see our functions be executed properly. How do we export a file default? Okay, instead of exporting a constant like this. Now, what we can do in ESM is we can export individual functions or variables like this. At the same time, we can export by default another data, for instance. Okay, this data is being exported by default like this, but these guys are being exported like that. So what happens when we import it? See, it's complaining about the data from the requested module usage does not provide an export named data. It's not provided inside this object, but it is provided where? Outside this object. Okay, so we can do import data that was exported by default. comma, and whatever is exported inside the individually, we can grab those like this. Now we should be able to see the same result. Now you guys will see this type of representation in React a lot. Usually what we do is import React, and if you are using some component from React, you can definitely do like this. Import React, this was imported exported with export default, and these guys were exported individually.
So which one do we need to export default? Like what type of things? Like
Well,
just
I mean, export default you can only use only one time. You cannot use double times, okay, in a single file. But export by itself you can use in multiple places in a single file. Okay, so if you have if you are exporting individually, then it's better to export those individually. Okay.
yes.
If you have only one, the whole file contains only the data, then just export that data with export default.
Can we export like module that export all of functions in the same line?
Without the type module?
Without module.
Okay. So
Yeah, without typing export for each function. Is it possible?
I think we did it, no?
I don't remember.
So module right here. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean without the mod, I mean the same code to if
The same code, yes.
okay. I thought it will be different because it's not common, it's module, but okay.
Yeah, so you're talking about without the module?
Doesn't matter, just
No,
how to
without the module, we tried already, it didn't work.
Mhm.
We have to say module.exports.
I mean, I thought when we provide type as a module, we need other different code, but if it will work, it's okay.
Yeah, if you type module down here, then you have to use import and export.
Okay.
You
Now,
cannot use module.
did you delete type module?
Yes.
I mean, when you wanna use type module, yeah, can you export every function in the same line like here?
Oh, okay.
Not-
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that we can do
Just yeah, I thought like this it will work.
export default. So we can either put this guy well, we can definitely do this one, export. Because data is not exported by default, so we have to take it back inside. Okay, now we can see that. What we can also do is put these guys constant combine it, and all right, just create this one, and then export default combine it.
I see.
Does not provide. Okay, so we can combine it, which was exported by default. Okay, constant combine it. Now we can use this one. It's weird that when we export like this by default. And well, I guess it does make sense. So this way is different than export this way. And if you do this way, then you can use without this combined. You can just do copy paste right here, like this. Okay, because I didn't save it. It works like this. But if you do this way right here, export it by default without this one. Now we have to do this one first and then destructure it.
Can we use like export default and name of our file like user.js and grab each function from this file? Export default and name of our file, which contain all of functions. Will it work? Can we do it? Can we provide
export default and name of file?
Yeah.
No, we can export default only the variables that were
Okay, we have inside the file.
but yeah, but when we are importing, we need to specify the name of the file. Where we are importing those things. We're importing from user.js file. Okay, that's the assignment for you guys. Try to convert in index.html file projects that contain type module, remove the type module, and import the data using require. Okay, that's not we don't need this user. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's take a break. 10 minutes break. We'll come back and start Firebase. Okay, let's get started. So last time, I think we created a simple Node.js application with the built-in with the Node.js, right? HTTP that is provided by Node.js itself. So we don't have to demo, Node.js demo. And we did this one right here. Okay, we created the Node application and we imported HTTP from HTTP that was provided by Node.js because we didn't install this HTTP in our as a dependency. It comes with Node.js, but some of the packages like Axios are third-party packages that we have to install, and Node.mon too. But HTTP comes with Node.js, and we can create an HTTP server with built-in modules that is provided by Node.js. Okay, but if you have a large company and your application is huge, right? Creating an application with built-in modules provided by Node with HTTP is not an efficient way. Okay, so usually we would not create our Node applications or web applications with HTTP built-in module. For that, we rely on web frameworks. Okay, web frameworks for Node.js. Now there are different types of Node.js web frameworks. These are the list, right? Fastify, for instance, is also a lightweight web framework for Node.js built on top of Express. Now, Express is pretty much the most popular one, okay? But the Fastify is also Node.js web framework, which we use in our company. So these are the web frameworks. The top 6 Node.js frameworks which want to choose, as you guys can see, Node.js, React.js, jQuery, Express is also number 4, and React.js. React.js is also a Node application, but it's UI side. Okay, it's not going to be run in the backend in the server side. If you create a React application, that's a Node. It still is a Node application, but all the functions will be pulled from the server into our client side, and the browser will display our UI in our browser only, not on the server side. All right, so today we're going to be working on Express.js. So Express.js, also called Express, is a minimalist, fast Node.js backend framework. The software is open source and released under MIT license, etc. So you guys can go through these advantages, but we'll just jump on to the implementation of Express.js. And I will provide the link in the chat, okay? So there is a thing called npm.js. And we can check every single packages in npm environment. Right, so let's search for Express, and they will show us the use cases and instructions how to implement the Express application. All right, so npmjs.com, go to there and search for package. For instance, NodeMon, search for NodeMon, right? NodeMon. NodeMon is a tool that helps develop Node.js-based applications by automatically restarting the Node application when file changes in the directory are detected. See, to use NodeMon, replace the word node on the command line when executing your script. So this one right here, npm install, it's installing the NodeMon globally. As you guys remember, when I tried to run NodeMon server.js, it didn't work because I did not install NodeMon globally. -g means installed globally, right? But we can also do npm run dev, which runs the script called NodeMon server.js for that application only. Now this is -save is for saving as the dev dependency, right? Or -D. All right, let's take a look at Express. Now this, we can start from here. This is the fast going setup, okay? Installation, this is Node.js module available through the npm registry. Before installing, of course, we need to download and install Node.js. Node.js 0.10 or higher is required for this Express package to be used. So we start from npm install Express. All right, let's go back and run the command in a new terminal. npm install Express. Let's check out right here. npm install Express, it will create dependency. It created dependencies and it's put Express down here. Express was not here. Now we installed Express, and Express file folder was generated over here. Every single child that is related to Express was also put inside Node modules. Now Node modules is huge file, right? So it's in gigabytes. There's a lot of files inside Node modules. So you don't want to push this file into what? GitHub. You don't want to push this file into GitHub. That's why we put that git ignore. That git ignore. Now this git ignore file, we can put every file that we are trying to ignore, Node modules, that we are not planning it to push it to GitHub. Okay, we can do this way. What else? There might be some you just do node modules. There might be some log files. We can ignore those two like this. Or I think a VS Code generates a DS store like this. We can ignore that one too. Sometimes if you push your GitHub repo into GitHub, you will see that there is a DS store. And that is, I think, automatically generated by VS Code. Okay, so for now, this should be enough for us. Now, if I push this file, if I push this repo into GitHub repo, my node modules will not be included. It does make sense not to include it, right? We don't have to include these node modules. If you clone this project from me or fork it to yourself or clone it, you have to run npmi. Okay, npmi. When you run npmi, npm will look into dependencies, also look into the dependencies, and it will install all the packages that is listed over here. And then it will generate node modules for you. That's the beauty of Node. Okay, so we installed Express. Why am I pulling this back.json? Where's my server? Yeah. We installed Express. Now let's take a look into usage. Constant Express, require Express. We can do without the type module for this one. Oops. Sorry about that. We can install, we can go with the require for this setup, okay? We don't have to do type module, but later on we can convert those to import export to ESM. Now, constant express, require express, we're getting express from package express. And then when we run this express, when we invoke this express function, we'll get an application. And with this app, now if in our Node application, Node.js, we said HTTP create server, and in a single function inside create server, we were handling every single method or the routing, etc. Okay, so it's complicated and it's really hard to get the requested params from HTTP server. That's the beauty of Express.js. Express.js separates every single method like this: app.get, app.delete, app.post, app.patch or put, whatever you'd like to put. It separates those methods in a different call. Okay, so app.get, rest.send, hello world. Let's convert these to async arrow functions. Because we need to convert these async functions because most of the time, when we deal, we're going to be doing try catch and try to reach out to the Firebase with await. That's why we need to convert these to async functions. Now, we say that manually we put 3000. That's the port number. You can either do this, okay, or as I was mentioning in the previous class, we need to create a constant port, a variable, and then say process dot environment dot port, or let's just say 8000. All right. So why we do process dot environment dot port? Now, when we deploy this Node application to Node application to any hosting website, any hosting environment, right? whether it's Amplify, whether it's a Firebase hosting, etc., they have a process.environment, and they have a process.environment port that they can allocate a port for our node application. Okay, so if you set it 3000, then it means that if you deploy it, that port number may not be available. So your application will not run on that port if it's not available on that server. Okay, that's why we say process.environment.port, whatever the server is providing, use that port. If server is not providing, then use that 8000. But most of the time, the server will provide a port number like this with the process.environment. And it is all the same for everything. Okay.
Quick question about this 8000 port. Why we use 8000? It might be any difference port we can use
Well,
for.
Yeah, whatever you can use above 1000 is fine. Below 1000, most of the ports are reserved. Okay, most of the ports are reserved. For instance, SSH port 22 is reserved for SSH. For instance, FTP is 21, etc. Those most of the ports are reserved for the usage of, for instance, HTTP port 80, HTTPS is 443. Okay, there are some ports that are reserved. We cannot use below 1000. Whatever it's above 1000, you can use it. Just use it 3000 if you want to use it 4000, whatever you want. That's fine. I'm just it's up to you to use it, okay? But previous example, I think I used 8000. That's why I just used 8000. Okay, it's up to you guys. But try to not to go below 1000. So, okay, so you can either do this, or for app.listen, you can provide the port number, since we created the variable port, and a callback function. This callback function will let us know if our server is running or not. All right, if our server is running or not, can you say server is listening on port, blah blah blah, or we can just say HTTP localhost and port. As you guys can see, server is listening on port 3000. Now, if I go down here and say 3000, hello world. Okay, it's printing out hello world. HomePad is working. Right? HomePad is working. Now,
excuse me, Azamat.
Yes.
So for Express is only used to create the API endpoint, or for something else too?
To create the API endpoint, yes. To create an HTTP server.
Only.
To create an HTTP server. To create a middleman.
It's just one of the backend kind of tools,
Yes.
right?
Create this guy right here. Now, with this guy, you can reach out to the local files, you can reach out to the databases, or you can reach out to another server, like from this Express server, we can reach out to our mock API database, this guy right here. Right, the users, for instance, and then do our CRUD application inside our if I can find my sketchpad, inside our server right here. Okay, we can do CRUD application over here, and post patch whatever we have, get data from different API endpoint, and then send the result back to client over here. But everything is done inside right here, Node.js application. I think I'm using that screen a lot, so let me just switch back like this. Okay, so this is for getting the HomePad. Now, how about if we use, let's say, get/users. Okay, get/users. And let's assume that I have constant users over here. Okay, and then another beautiful thing about Express.js or whatever other web frameworks in Node.js, for Node.js, we can, with the Express.js right here, we can provide the status. Okay, there's that status 200, and we can either send it like this with send, okay, or we can send it with JSON, and say object, of course, message homepad is working. Message homepad is working. All right, so how about this get users? Rest that status to 100. Since we're going to be sending as a JSON, right? Users. Okay, so now if I go /users, now I'm able to see my users. Now, with how we were sending with like this, right? Rest at right, we were converting our data into JSON with the JSON.string file. With the Express, we don't have to do that. As soon as we do a JSON, it will be converted to a JSON. This array or object will be converted to JSON object or array. Now, the thing about is that, can we create a local file like this, whether it's over here or whether it's in a different file, and do our CRUD application? And what might be the caveat creating a local file like this and do the CRUD application, like posting a new user, deleting a user, and updating a user with the local file? I mean, when I say local file, it's just a local variable like this. You can definitely do that as long as your server does not shut down and restart. You can do that. But if your server shuts down and restarts and you started initially with empty array, everything will be gone and new users will be created as empty array. Okay, new users will be created with empty array. Now this one is this local file is different than creating a local variable. Now this local file, we will be using the file system that belongs to Node.js, right? We can read file, we can write file, we can delete files from local server. But of course, we're going to be using Firebase for that. All right, so users, and we should be getting the users from Firestore database. Now let's install a Firestore. Now, first of all,
Is it so yeah, is it Firestore is a database from Amazon?
From Google.
From Google.
Firebase is from Google.
Oh, okay, that's from Google. Yeah.
Everybody should have access to Firebase as long as you have a Google account, email account.
But what about MongoDB?
MongoDB is different. Yes, MongoDB is also a database. Okay, it's different.
Sorry, Azamat, may I ask something? When did you cover this Node.js? I just tried to find the video link about this Node.js class, but I didn't find. And the previous class was canceled. I checked the Morat class.
Yeah, not the previous class, sorry, not the previous class, before that.
I just really don't remember this part of code. When did we write it? I mean, it was really long take
It was 1 hour in the last one, 1 hour in one of the classes.
It was very
Started
short
from
and we didn't have time. Yes, we didn't have time.
hour. Yeah, it was hour after
after.
2 hours of lecture. So,
Okay, I'll try to check again. Okay. Thank you.
So you guys don't see that?
Because I don't understand about the Express anything, so I just wanna watch the previous class first, and after that is
This guy was, I think it was right here.
I checked this video link in the last.
It's not there?
No, you can check it here. It was about the random menu project. Only 2 hours of class. Here.
no, it was somewhere there. I watched that part again. It is somewhere there. Yeah, I'm trying to find the date.
Yeah, I'm not sure which class, but we definitely mentioned not last class was canceled. I think it's either this class or this class right here.
Yeah, I think from the Wednesday class, maybe that April 3rd.
Probably. Yeah, check that out, please. I might be wrong. Maybe I just said that.
I will try. You said last part of class,
It
right?
wasn't the week of 8. It wasn't there. It was before.
Okay.
Just really confused. When
Yeah,
did we...
I apologize for that. I got confused too with the dates too. Sorry about that. Okay, cool. Let's. Do you guys have access to Firebase now? Do you guys wanna check it out?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Okay,
I've
cool.
never heard before about Firebase.
So yeah, we'll start from creating a project. Okay, we can just say Node.js Express Firebase. It's recommended to turn it on, enable Google Analytics for this project. That's fine by default. We can do that. Continue and configure a Google Analytics. Choose a create a Google Analytics account. Default account for Firebase. That's fine. Create a project. All right, your Firebase project is ready. Okay, once we do that, we'll come down here and click a Cloud Firestore.
Excuse me, Azamat, can you please quickly explain again what is Firebase right now? Is it kind of like a server or something like that, where we can store
Oh,
our...
we have our AWS, right? AWS, and it has a lot of services provided by AWS, right? You guys know that, right? Just like that, Google has also cloud services. Okay, Google also has cloud services. And the Firebase is one of them. So Google Firebase is a comprehensive platform provided by Google for developing mobile and web applications. All right, this Firebase contains a lot of different services, It provides the real-time databases, authentication for users trying to reach out to the databases, and the cloud storage and the hosting and cloud functions, etc. We are trying to utilize from this Cloud Firestore. And this is one of the services provided by Google Firebase. So Firestore is flexible, scalable document database for mobile, web, and server development. Right? This one is perfect for our CRUD applications. And this one, real-time database, is perfect for chat applications. Now, when we start looking into React applications towards the end, we would probably, I'm planning to do a chat application just like the WhatsApp. Okay, so I think Marat explained you guys the difference between regular request and response and WebSocket, right? They use WebSocket to keep the connection between the client and server continuously. Okay, now as you guys know from the chat applications, whenever someone sends, you will receive the message. Okay, and all the messages are served in the server side, and whenever someone sends a message, it will be stored in the server, and server will push the notification to you, like, okay, this guy sent you a message, here's the message. Okay, so real-time database means the client side can send a request, also the server side can send a request whenever it sees some changes itself in the application. But in the regular client server, the logic, we click something in the UI and we get the data, or we click something in the UI, we delete the user or customer, etc. Right? We're just sending a request and expecting a response from the server. But in the real-time database, the connection will be on continuously. Right? But for now, we're going to be dealing with Cloud Firestore. Okay, so Cloud Firestore, once you guys do, I lost my track. Where's my... Oh, okay, right here. Once you create a project and click a Cloud Firestore, right? And click Create Database. Default, that's fine. United States, that's fine. Next, click the default. Next. All right, start in test mode. We don't have to go start in production mode. We can do start in test mode. As you guys can see, your data is opened by default to enable quick setup. However, you must update your security rules within 30 days. That's going to be set to 30 days. Now, if you do start in production, allow read and write, it can open, it will be open for a long time, right? If you do start in test mode, it will be open only for 30 days. After 30 days, you have to change this, allow read and write. So click start in test mode and click create. Okay, so the database created in the Cloud Firestore. Now click, okay, so click a project overview and click this guy right here, web. Now this one is for Android, this one is for Apple, and the one we need is this guy right here. Now we need to register our application. App nickname, register app. I guess we can just do also set up Firebase hosting for this app. I will try to do it a little bit later. So let's just call it let's just call it my fan app, right? F is for Firebase, E for Express, and for Node. register app. All right, cool. So this is the thing that is provided to us. Okay, this is the code by default provided to us as soon as we register our application and create our database and create our project. Now these are belong to me, right? When you create yourself, it will belong to you. So first of all, it says we need to create install Firebase. We got this code and come down here and we need to do npm install Firebase. And Firebase will be added as a dependency. It's taking a while. Okay, Firebase was added as a dependency. Now let's just go back, and they are already giving us the code to initialize Firebase. It says then initialize Firebase and begin using software development kits for the product you would like to use. And we just copy this code, come down here, and inside our server.js, right over here, and paste the code. Okay, we can paste the code. Now, they also named this app. We can definitely change that. All right. Let's just change to a Fire app. Fire app. You know, not to confuse with Express app. Okay, so how do I convert these guys to CommonJS with the require, right? So require, put in the middle right here. Same thing for analytics, like that. Actually, we're not using any analytics. We can just comment this one out. Okay, initialize Firebase. So how do we reach out to the database though? We initialize the Firebase. Okay, so basically we did what? This guy right here. So how do I reach out to the database itself? We need to utilize with get firestore method for that. Constant database is equal to, okay, get firestore. Now it will be automatically imported from Firebase firestore. Okay, get firestore right here. And now we need to put this Fire application inside. Okay, and now we can reach out to our database now. Continue to console the Firestore database. Okay. Since we don't have any collection right now, let me start with post, okay, with the post method. So right over here, we can create users, and it's going to be post async request response. Okay. In order to add, there's a Firestore add doc. Add data to cloud store. This is the documentation that we will be using. Okay, read data, adding a data. Also, there's some other options to it, deleting a data, move data within projects, etc. Delete data right here. But right now, we will be using add data. Okay, so as you guys can see right here, initialize Cloud Firestore and get a reference to the service. Now we did already, right? Constant database, get Firestore app. This guy right here. Now, the only thing we need to do, await, set doc. Okay, we can either use add doc or set doc. We'll just copy this guy, right? I'm looking for the other add doc. Let me see add doc. Oh, this guy right here. So when you set to create a document, you must specify an ID for the document to create. So we cannot specify the ID, new city ID, right? Because the ID will be, we need the ID to be generated by the Firestore itself. That's why, but sometimes there isn't a meaningful ID for the document, and it's more convenient to let Cloud Firestore auto-generate an ID for you. You can do this by calling the following language-specific add methods. All right, so for that, we need to import these guys first. Firebase Firestore, which comes Firebase Firestore with this get Firestore method. The same object. Okay, so now add a new document with the generated ID. So now we can say copy this guy and put it right over here. Okay, so I can just extract this guy right here. Users. Constant new user is equal to, and put this new user right over here.
Excuse me, Azamat, is it going to have to generate ID? Did you say that?
So add a new document with a generated ID. So
It's gonna Google so will generate, right? Google.
You do add doc, okay? When you do add doc, the Firestore will generate the ID for you by itself.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah,
when
we
you do
don't
set
have
doc,
to.
yeah, when you do set doc, you have to provide the new city ID, for instance. We cannot do that because how?
Yes, set. Okay, we're using add now.
Yes, we are using add doc.
Okay.
Add document. Okay. So add doc collection. So it, guys, don't memorize these things, all right? So it is provided by Firebase itself in the documentation. We just need to copy and paste and try to implement our CRUD application. Okay, so we're providing new user and we're providing the collection. Of course, the collection, we don't have anything in our collection right now, right? And now we can provide the name that we would like to do. For instance, we are dealing with the users and we can provide users. Okay, so if there is no users, it will automatically generate that collection for you. If there is a user, it will just add a new user into that collection. Okay, collection database users. Of course, DB is not DB. We can change this database name to DB. Let's just they did it as DB. Let's just move with DB. Okay, So database is get Firestore, Fire application, and the users is the collection name, and then we are adding a new user with add_doc method. And now the document written with ID, docref ID. All right, so let's see if we have, okay, so right over here, we can just do, of course, I need to do what? I cannot do post in the browser. What I need to do in the Thunder client, right? New request and post. Now, I'm not providing any data in the body because in right here, I'm already providing manually. Okay, if you are providing a data in the body, then you have to receive it as rec.body. Right? So now, if I new request 3000 users, which is post and users, and also the method is post. Now, if I click it, processing, okay, it generated, right? I don't know why it's taking too long on this one, but it created a users collection because it was not there, and it created a user with the ID, this one, and the contents. Okay, it already added. Or maybe rest that status, and then instead of JSON, let's just say send successfully added user. Connection was forcefully closed by peer. Right? If I click again, right, successfully. Oh, I'm missing a C right here. Okay, successfully added user. Now, if I see it again, it's generated automatically right here. Exact same thing. Now I have two users with different IDs, of course. The ID is generated by Firestore itself.
Azamat, which API, sorry, tool are you using? What's the name? The tool.
Oh, the Thunder client. Yeah, it's an extension.
Thunder.
Yeah, go to
Thunder client.
VS Code and download the extension Thunder client. There's different ways we can check our API endpoints, right? Postman is one of them. You can download the Postman.
use Postman, yeah.
You can also use insomnia.rest. You can also download it and check your API endpoints. All right. But I like Thunder Client. It just comes with the VS Code as an extension, and you can test your API endpoints.
Azamat, so all of these stuffs just to save database in the server, that's all?
All of these, yep, whatever we are doing right now.
Only the data, or even just some part of codes, or only information?
Yeah, here's the thing. Everything we wrote down here, over here, it stays right here. Okay, we created node application. But we are still right here. We are still developing this code. But when we upload it into the server, it should work as if it's working in the local storage, locally in our machine. But we are writing this code over here, and we are connecting to the Firestore from here, from our local machine. Okay, from our local machine. But when we deploy it to hosting website, and now our server will be run in the server with the port what? Provided by the server. Okay, it will be provided by the server. And from here, we will be reaching out to Firestore.
Okay, I see.
It's the Firestore configuration right here will not be changed, whether you're doing it in the locally, whether you will doing it in the server. It will still be the same connection. It's just moved to another environment. That's it.
Is it
Yeah.
something like, I forgot this word in English, Shabon, right? It's to save like to your database into the server, you need to write almost the same code, right? Or it should be different in this different situation. I mean,
why we are
I mean, you, as I saw, you just copy pasted the some code and it worked.
yes, copy pasted some code from here. Yes, exactly. Why? Because I need to make a connection between this Firestore and my node server, right? How do I make a connection? They are providing a code for me. They say, okay, this is how you can connect your application to the database. And once you put that code in over here like this, right? This code over here, and now you are able to reach out to your database or collection. Without this code, you will not be able to reach out to the database. There's no connection. Now that code is providing a connection between the Firestore and our Node.js application, Node.js server.
Yeah, I mean, all of this code is almost like schablon on не гибкий.
You talk about the template?
What do you say?
Schablon? What do you mean by schablon? Like,
I mean,
can you
да,
elaborate on that?
да, если вы позволите, да, то есть этот метод, чтобы сохранить базу данных в сервере, весь код, который мы для этого используем, он некий такой уже созданный, и нам не нужно как-то его сильно менять. Он уже есть, и такой он используется для всех случаев, правильно?
That is right. Yes, it's already there. The code is already there. So we just copy and paste it.
Okay.
So Google Firebase says that, okay, in order to use our database, you have to have this code right here, right? It says you have to have code like this. Now put this code, and now you are able to connect to the database that you created over here, or you are going to create. All right. So without this code, as I was saying, you will not have access to the database. Same thing with MongoDB. They will provide something like this by default, right? They will provide a connection string, and with the connection string, we will have access to our database.
Yeah. Can you please, how can I Google these stuffs? What like main topic of this? I just tried to find in YouTube some videos, but it's 6-7 hours the video. I think this part
Well,
is
you can type Node.js Firebase
no,
application, right? There should be some.
not only about the Firebase, I
This
think.
one in the YouTube, yeah. Type this one in the YouTube, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of videos people did for Firebase and connected to Node.js.
I'll try. Thank you.
Cool. So we did connect.
So excuse me, Azamat, so can you go back to the Firestore?
Firestore, yes.
So that user is a table, right? So we created a table.
Users is a collection. Okay.
Oh, so yeah, I mean in the regular database, it would be called as a table. So we don't have to
yes,
create
exactly.
tables.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, they have
kind of it's ready to use a tool here.
exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay, it's cool.
You can say select everything, right? Select everything from users, or select user with the ID, etc. They have different setup. That's how they make their database. Okay, cool. So if there's no collection, it will be created automatically when we post it. If there is a collection, then we can add a new user. All right, so right over here, it says name, country. How about we get this one from constant rec that, oh, sorry. Why didn't I delete it? Let me keep it out as it is. All right, this is manually set, but of course we will be getting the data from what? Rec.body. All right, rec.body. So let me try to console log new user. Right? If I console log the new user, let me comment this one out. I don't want to post anything right now. If I can't select a new user, okay, post, and in the body, what do we have for country, Japan? Okay. Country, Canada. Of course, our JSON has to be all with the double quotes, okay? If I send it, as you guys can see right here, it says undefined. Okay, so rect body is undefined, but we are providing rect body. What's going on? In order to our Express application to be able to deal with the JSON data that we are receiving as a request, right? We have to use a middleware. And that middleware, okay, and that middleware is called, we need to do app.use. That app is Express application, right? App.use, and now we need to do express.json. With this middleware, we're telling, yeah, we're Express application to be yeah, we're telling Express application to be able to parse our JSON. Okay, we're able to parse our JSON data that we are getting as a request inside the request.body. So now, just pay attention right here. And if I send my request again, now name Alex, country, Canada. Now I'm able to see my data now, right? So whenever you are working with Express applications, we need to use this middleware in order to parse the JSON data that we are getting inside our rect.body. Okay, so now I can open this guy up and then send the request. All right, successfully edit user. If I check, right? Alex, Canada. Yeah, it's interesting that they're changing the look, the placement too. I don't know why. Anyway, so we are able to, what time is it? 7:09. Do you guys want to take a 5 minutes break?
Yep.
Yeah, please.
Let's take a 5 minutes. All right, thank you so much for sharing the link to the video recording. Cool, this is how we add a new user into our database. Okay, as you guys can see, document written with ID, it's automatically generated by Firebase itself. And we are getting docref ID. How about okay, so we have some users now, all right? So we can receive our users with the get method and /users, okay? Let's check it out. Add data, manage databases, add new and manage data, read data, get data. So this one is used for get doc to get a single. It's not using a collection, but we are looking for something that says collection. Get multiple documents from a collection, right? Right here. Get multiple documents from a collection. Specifically this guy right here. So import collection, get docs. This is the method that we are going to use, and it's also coming from Firebase Firestore. Just put right here, add doc, get docs. Right over here, just come over here and copy the document. Get multiple all.js file, right? In addition, you can retrieve all documents in a collection by omitting where filter entirely. So console.log document ID and doc.data. By default, the doc.data does not contain ID itself, and the doc itself contains the ID. Okay, so they said, okay, query snapshot await get docs. This query snapshot is kind of like an array, but it's not actual array. So map, a higher order function, does not work for this query snapshot, but they said, okay, for each can work. Right? I tried already. Map doesn't work for this one, but for each works. It's so weird. It is so weird. But let's see what we can get with /users. Now, if I say refresh the page, we should see some data and paste it down in the console. Right? Send it. Oh, sorry. It's not cities, guys. Where we have users. Now let's refresh, and we are able to see our data down here. Okay, so doc.data contains the one that we have on this side right here, but it doesn't contain the ID, but doc.id contains the ID. All right, doc.id contains the ID. So what we can do here, is constant users, empty array, okay? And inside each, we can do users.push, okay? Users.push, and of course, we need to generate an object, right? Object should contain ID, okay? Object will contain ID, which is doc.id, okay? And then whatever the data comes from this doc.data. Okay, so we don't need these guys over here. It's never undefined for query doc snapshot. Right, once we get that, we can just do response that status 200 and provide the JSON, which is users. Okay, so if you do without the ID, you will get without the ID. That's why we need to generate our own object and send the data.
Is this ID from the database, right?
This ID provided by the database, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And they come separately. The actual data and the ID comes separately. So the ID comes with the doc.id and data comes with doc.data. What I was trying to do is this guy right here, right? I was trying to do map, okay? And when I'm returning it, I was trying to return this guy right here as a single setup like this. Okay, which we can do that. See, it says query snapshot map is not a function. It's so weird. Like for each is working fine, but why map is not working for the same? If it's an array, if it's for each is working fine, right? Which is higher order function. Map is not working.
Maybe because and the type of the users. Oh no, type of the query snapshot.
Yeah, type of the query snapshot. Oh, you're saying what's the type of the query session?
No, yeah, I mean that's why not working the map.
Yeah. Query snapshot and the type of query snapshot. Right. So if I say get users, okay, so the type is huge. Right? Query it's huge.
It's not array, right?
It's
Maybe
not
it's an object, just an object.
We'll see. We'll see. What's the type? Object. Yeah, it is an object.
That's why it's not working.
Yeah, but the for each does the for each work for objects? No, it's so weird, right? For each only works for arrays.
Maybe they made an update.
Yeah, that's related to Firebase itself. Okay, they can control. I guess they can control whatever the higher order function. They may change some to the Node.js. I don't know. Yeah, so
Maybe they just override it, like add the for each for the method for their object. They
maybe.
wrote, yeah.
Who knows? But in this case, for each works fine, just like it says in there, the documentation right here, for each and reach out to the data. But in order to get all the users in a single array, we created empty array and we're just pushing those users into that array. Anyway, so we are able to get users. How about we get a single user? Now, with that, we will provide /ID, okay? And how do we get this ID? Constant ID request.params.id, or another representation for this one is to use object and remove this guy right here, okay? Both of them will work. We're creating constant ID and grabbing the ID and reassigning back to ID. Now, with this one, this rec params is an object, and inside we are destructuring it to get the ID from rec params. All right, let's take a look. Get data, get all collections. Now we had something like custom objects, source options, get a document. Okay. So now right over here, okay, if it exists, we're just getting this guy right here. So we need to get doc first and also doc. Right? So do we have doc? No, we don't have doc. We need to get doc and get doc. Both of them. And I'll just copy the code and I will be just pasting it right over. Oops. Right, yes, just right over here. So users, it's gonna be users, and now this is the ID that we can provide. Right, this is the ID we need to provide. Right over here it says the following example shows how to retrieve the contents of a single document using get, and they have that database, right? They have a database called cities. Oops, sorry. They said cities, and inside the cities they have SF. That's the ID. For, oh my goodness, that's the ID for the single document. Now we have ID, right? Every single document we have IDs, so we can reach out by ID. So now we need to provide ID that we are getting from our endpoint. Right? So, and then they said doc snap, okay, await get doc reference, right? And they said doc snap that exists. Now this one provides true or false. True or false. If it's true, constant.log document, doc snap.data, it's giving us the data. If it's not, then no such document is found in the database. Right? So if I say, grab this guy right here, ID, and if I click this one, and we need to pay attention to the console, of course, right over here. And if I click enter, as you guys can see, document data, right? It's providing me document data. Now we have to do the same thing as we did with users, right? Like this. But for that, we're not going to be creating an array, of course. We just need to provide this docsnap data with the ID. Instead of console logging, what we can do, grab this guy and say rest.status JSON users. Instead of users, we can provide an object, and inside the object, we'll provide the ID, okay? And of course, ID will be just the ID from rec param, okay? When you have the two, if the key and the value is the same in the object, as you guys know, we can just keep them as a single, right? And then we'll use the spread operator with docref, or actually docsnap data. Right? So now we have single user wrap. We can do the same thing for this guy right here. Instead of rest status 200, we're going to say 404. And then instead of, okay, let's just say JSON, fine. And provide a message, user not found. All right, let me change this to something else. Message, user not found. Okay, user not found because I think I messed up with my user data. Yeah, this guy right here. Copy, paste it at the end to get the single user. And now I'm getting a single user. All the users. Okay, so our app.get is working fine. Post is working fine. All right, get all users is working fine. Getting a single user is working fine. How about deleting? Let's work on the deleting. So for deleting is also we need what? ID at the end. Okay, so we need ID at the end. Let me just copy this guy over here. And now the method will be delete. See, it's very easy, right? You just put the method name over here, and the Express.js will reach out to specific portion of the code and then run that function, the async function over here. All right, so app.delete is the method, users that we're providing ID as a param. Okay, let's see how can we delete the data. That's the read data, add and manage data, delete data right here. That's the guy right here. Await, doc, database, users, and DC is the ID that we are going to provide. Okay, that's let me just copy this code. Now we need delete doc, right? We already have doc at the beginning, right? Now we need delete doc. Delete doc. Let me come down to my delete method over here. Okay, I think we can use the exact same thing, right? So if you try to delete an ID that doesn't exist, we need to say, okay, user not found. If the ID exists, then we can say what? We can apply this guy right here, right? Delete doc users and provide the ID. And we can say user has been deleted successfully. Copy, instead of providing the data, we need to say rest.status JSON, user has been deleted. right? So user's ID, we're getting the users first, and then this is a true or false. If the user exists, then delete the user. If the user ID, the user does not exist in the database, then say, okay, user not found. So for delete, of course, I need to do this guy right here, delete, right? Now let me provide something like doesn't exist, send, message, user not found, status code 404, right? Now let me provide something that does exist, Control C, and provide the ID. Okay, delete method, users slash ID, we're providing the ID. Okay, and then we're searching for that user first. If it exists, then delete it. Now if I send it, user has been deleted. If I refresh this guy right here, now the user is gone. Any questions so far? Who has any questions?
No.
Cool. So I feel like before I do the put or patch, right, I would like to simplify my code. Let me pull this guy over here. Right, I would like to simplify my code. So I would like to take this whole thing out and put it into its own file. Okay, I would like to take that whole thing out and put it its own file. So, okay, so got it. Firebase db.js file. Okay, and now, of course, get Firestore. I will be needing get Firestore on the other side. Not these guys. These guys are used on the other side. So constant get Firestore require Firebase Firestore because I'm using get Firestore right over here. Also, I need initialize app. Right? Initialize app is coming from different place. Import functions you need from SDKs you need. Yes. Initialize, that's fine. And now, since we don't have to export these guys, the only thing we need to export is db. So I can use what? Export, of course, default, not gonna use it. Module.exports db. Okay, module.export db. We don't need this guy over here. So now we can say constant db is equal to require Firebase db. As you guys can see, it's still working, right? It's still working. We just removed a huge chunk of code. We get this analytics too, just in case for reference. If you guys would like to check it out, middleware, that's fine. Cool. And then once we're done with the patching, we'll try to simplify our code more. We're going to be adding a router provided by Express.js. Okay, we'll try to add a router. Okay, cool. What else do we have left? Let's do the patching. We do the post. And of course, for the patching, we definitely need to use the ID too, right? So get ID, let me copy paste, and instead of get, we'll just need to patch. All right, so patch and also constant updated data comes from what? rect that body. Okay, updated data we will provide when we do patch. We need to provide updated data in the body and then provide the ID. We're done with Firebase DB. Cool. So what we can do here. Let me check. Data. Okay, add data. Okay, to create or override a single document, use the following language-specific set methods. With the set method, we have doc, database, users, and we're providing the ID, and we'll provide the updated data as a second option. It says, if the document does not exist, it will be created. If the document does exist, its content will be overridden with the newly provided data, unless you specify that the data should be merged into the existing document as follows. Okay, so it says that this is the updated data we're providing. And let's say that our data is huge. There's a lot of content. It contains a lot of information down here. And you would like to change specific parts only, for instance, name only. Okay, and I think what we can do here, merge. It will be merged. And when we are pushing some, patching some data, we can only provide a single data and the other data will be merged to this data. Let's do this one. We need to import setdoc from Firestore. Setdoc. Set document. And of course, we need to find patch right over here. And we're not dealing with should we check if the ID exists? It does make sense, right? It does make sense to check the ID if it does exist. If it doesn't exist, user not found. Let's keep it as it is.
Why?
Just in case that if we are trying to patch something and then the ID doesn't exist.
No, you said we don't need it.
No. I'm asking, should we keep it this guy right here? I think
I think so.
yeah, so if it exists, right, we can check the ID first. If it exists, then we can update the user. If the user doesn't exist, we can say user not found, cannot update it. If you don't need this guy right here, you can just delete the whole thing and then do let's just do this one without this one, and then we can modify it. So we had the thing called collection. Where's the collection one? All right, this should be fine. Doc.database, we get users, and of course, this is going to be ID. Okay, and then this is what? Instead of a capital true, it's going to be updated data. Interest. Oh, it has to be. Why we didn't copy this guy right here? Did we copy this one? Why this guy doesn't have a weight on of it, right? Set with merge. Well, I think we need to put the weight down there. I don't know why they didn't put it the weight. Yeah, we need to have a weight. The duck, see the ref, update data, merge sure. Okay, cool.
What does the merge do? Because we're already doing like updating, why we need the merge through?
Yeah, so it says right over here, it says if the document does not exist, it will be created. If the document does exist, its contents will be overridden. Okay, so let's
Yes.
your user, oops, sorry. Let's say your user contains a country and a name, but
Yeah.
when you are say patching, you're providing only name. Right? You're providing only name. Now
Oh.
the country will be eliminated and there will be only name in the
And merge, just merging it. If we
merge
don't have it like combining all of it.
is combine. Yes, it will just combine because we're sending with the patch, we're sending only name, but it will combine with the contents, existing contents, the remaining contents. And it will just update the part that says name. Let's
Okay.
try that. So patch users ID async, new request. Of course, I need to provide the ID. Let's change this to name, since he's from Japan, right? Name. Oh, that's the country name. Why we have anyway? Let's just change the name to Hiroka. Yeah, that's fine. So let's say that if I provide something like no ID, oh, we forgot to tell that. Yeah. Yeah, so we need to include this guy right here. Anyway, so we have ID now. Let me cancel the request first. Okay, now ID is correct. If I say send, as you guys can see, name has been changed to Hiroko. Now if I refresh the page, now Hiroko. Okay. Well, it looks like it did create
New record, right?
record, yes, with the name Hiroko in our initial thing, right? I tried to change
Looks like it's updated. It updated and created new record.
so if it's okay, so that's oh, that's the thing, yeah. For for the patching, right? For the setting the document, it says to create or override a single document. So it is also creating because of the ID. So I think we can check the ID first because we don't want additional stuff to be created, right? So we can just bring this guy over here and say, if docsnap exists, then set with the new data. All right, so let me delete this guy right here first. New request, patch, delete, change the ID with this one. All right, user has been deleted, refresh, now it's gone. So I want patch with this guy right here and change the name to Robert. Okay, now if I say something else, say user not found. Okay, now if I say provide name only, well, we didn't provide Yeah, rest at the status to 200. User has been updated. We can do that right over here. User has been updated. Okay, so now user has been updated, Robert. Okay, let me change it back to Kevin, for instance. Send it. User has been updated. Now, if I refresh it, it's Kevin. Okay, so let's see what does without the merge. Save it. New request. Raylan, send it. User has been updated. If I refresh, see, country is gone. Name is there, but country is gone. So we need to keep merge true.
Can we try with a non-existing ID to patch non-existing ID?
Yes, definitely. So if it doesn't exist, user not found. Okay, because we have what? Reset status 404, user not found. If the ID exists, oops, and we'd like to with the merge, we'd like to add country to this guy right here. Then we say send, user has been updated, and refresh, we brought back the country.
In documentation, it was saying that if there is no records found, then it's gonna insert the new record. Right?
Yes, it says
Or
to
do we need
create.
to add some new logic for this?
Oh, we add the logic already, right? So we're trying to see if the user
yeah,
exists.
But yeah, I mean, it's not inserting the new.
Not inserting because we have if else right here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, if the document does not exist, it will be created. If the document does exist, its contents will be overridden, etc. So, I think we can mention about the router. How does the router helps us?
It groups all the similar routes.
It groups all the similar routes and
Maybe.
combines all of these in a single file right here. Okay, it will combine all of these in a single file. So right here, we can create a file called routes. Okay, and inside the file, we can just call API routes.js file. API routes.js file. So in order to use router, since we are using exporting Express from Express, we definitely need this. Okay, and then we need to bring it over here. And this Express contains constant users router, or just name it router. Constant router is equal to express dot, as you guys can see right here, popped up router. Okay, it's gigantic method provided by Express. And now we can grab all of these methods all of these methods and put it right over here. Okay, put it right over here. And now we can change this app dot to router. Control F, change app dot to, oops, to router dot, and swap it. Now we don't have anything over here. Okay, we don't have anything over there. So how can we import into our, as you guys can see, none of these are being used over here, right? So we need to grab everything from here. Now it's pretty much really simplified. All right, so now is this the correct path? This guy right here? Because we are inside routes, inside API routes. Is this the correct path? No. This dot represents that if this Firebase database file is inside routes. It's not. We need to switch back to what? The parent. One more dot. As you guys can see, Firebase database. Okay, we need to go back one up level, and that's where our Firebase database JS locates. So now, in order to use our router, of course, we need to, first of all, export our router first, right? So come down here. We have a router, and we set up every single method for the router. And right at the end, we can do module.exports router. Okay, and right over here, we can do constant router is equal to require, okay, require that routes slash API routes. And now this express router is also a middleware, just like we have what? Express.json, right? We're using. Similarly, we can use, okay? Similarly, we can say API use, all right? API use. We need to provide a route for this one. What we can provide this one here? We can say just slash, right? Slash and comma and put the router. This is what specifies the route. Okay, so when you go to the router, okay, slash users slash, if it's slash, it will provide this guy right here, right? If it's slash users, it will provide this one right here. But what else we can do is we can bring out this slash users, and now we can remove the slash users from here. All of these. Okay, we can remove slash users from there.
What about slash?
The slash, we need to take it out from here up to the server.js file right here. But the remaining, it will be slash users. Let's try with the slash itself. Okay. As you guys can see, home path is working. Now, if I say users, now I'm still getting the users. Now our router is still working fine. But if I convert this guy right here, API, it can also be done, right? But it's not gonna be get users. There's no such a thing. But we can do API slash, and we are able to get our data. Or just API, reach out to the home path. Whatever you specify right here, this one will come right after the port.
That's clear.
Azamat,
Yes.
how many hours we're gonna spend for this Node.js
We are done right now.
No, I mean, in the future, do we have more classes for this Node.js?
Well, starting from next week, right? React, we're not gonna be going through the Node.js applications. All right,
Oh,
so
so that's it.
that's it. So we can use
Mhm.
application, this API endpoint in our React applications. Now, in React applications, we've been using what? Mock API to reach out to the users or whatever students our data. Now we can, since we have generated our own data with the Firebase API, right? We can deploy this application and use it in our DOM applications or React applications. Now, this is pretty much it. What you guys can do over here is, in order to simplify further, you guys can create the controllers. The controllers will be to extract these guys, async functions, right? For instance, get home path, okay? And then export this file from controllers and just keep it simple. It's up to you guys. You guys can simplify it further. Now this is pretty much done. We are out of time already. Let me push this guy.
Azamat, is this tool Express.js is for front-end developers tool, or it's more full stack?
Express.js is only backend.
Okay, then it's kind of a so full stack skill, right, for us to know about this.
Exactly, yeah. So
Okay.
it is better for you guys, since you guys will be React developers or front-end developer, but in the resume, it's definitely helpful to have Node.js, Express.js. Right? So we saw Express.js in our cohort. Ulan Rakamjanov taught us the Express.js and Mongo.js, right? Basically, we did the MERN stack, Mongo, Express, React, and Node.js. And when I joined the company, they said, okay, you need to create a Node application with Fastify. The Fastify is also another option, as I was saying, right? A Fastify is exactly kind of same thing as Express.js with different functionalities, right? You guys can definitely create or convert this Express.js into Fastify.
Okay,
Who's
so
using
Azamat, you work as a full stack or back? So yeah, as a backend. Then.
full stack engineer? Yeah. So they call it as a software engineer. So if they call it the software engineer, you have to take care of both sides, front end and back end. If they call you just the front end engineer, then only UI side. Okay. Or if they call you a back end engineer, just the back end side. But if they call you software engineer, they can assign you some tasks that contain some backend coding too.
Okay.
So as you guys can see right here, Fastify is pretty much very similar. You can just import it like this or CommonJS, right? Just do this one right here, copy and paste, and the routes will be exact same. In Express.js, we have app.get. In Fastify, I'll just can call it app right here, right? And then app.get and reply.send, etc. It will be exactly the same thing. Node server and curl, and using CLI, Fastify CLI, Fastify route. Oh, they have them. They have some routes in here. Yeah, pre-handler, handler, etc. Yeah, don't confuse yourself. But if you'd like to go through this documentation, just go through that documentation for your future reference in your resumes. Okay, a lot of stuff can be added into the resumes. All right, so I will be adding this. What time is it? 8:01.
What about the security stuff? Do we need to handle it? Like some injections and so on?
the security.
Yeah.
I was reading about this Express.js, right? And one of the disadvantages, it says, even if Express.js is popular, framework also has drawbacks, which can affect your web applications development. Security is not good enough. Express.js does not dictate how security is implemented and will depend on how the application was coded. To put it simply, it is up to the developer to manage the degree of security they need, depending on application being developed.
Or it maybe can be so based on the requirements from the organization and the security.
Yeah, so I have never implemented the security on a Node application, so I cannot speak on that in details.
And last question about do we need to handle the sessions and the code and tokens?
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Like
I've never.
JWT or something else.
Oh yeah, we do have actually. We did actually with Ulan. Yeah, I kind of remember now. I need to look into the code, guys. I just don't remember that. Okay, so JWT, JSON Web Token, yes.
It's
JWT,
commonly used, right?
JSON Web Token. In two parties, yeah. There's different libraries. Adabon, C, where's Node? C++, Crystal Closure, Delphi, Go.
Azamat, if you're done, can I leave this class?
I think, yeah, we're done. You guys can head out, and I will post the finished code in Slack chat.
Oh yeah, what topic of the next class with you? Do you know? If we're done with Node.
Azamat, will we go over the MongoDB?
Well, it's the recap week, guys. If you'd like to go over the MongoDB, I can set up a class for the next class to connect to MongoDB.
But it's
But
basically
just,
like the same as a Firebase.
Yeah, API async calls.
Yeah, if it's the same,
No,
just go through quickly. I don't know, half an hour session.
Well, I feel
or-
like some people are bored on this Node.js, so
No, it's kind of amazing.
yeah, I feel like it's plus for you guys to know, even if it's not in details, to know about the Node.js and how the backend applications work. And so,
Oh yeah, there are some videos from Marat on the platform, 4 or 5 videos. I think let's see if you wanna to watch more videos, you can go there.
For the Node.js, I saw only 2.
I think there are some
Might be
3 or
more.
4 videos in the,
Oh, there is a lot of videos
Oh yeah, I see.
about
Mhm.
yeah, from Marat. Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, it is. I found it. It's on the Node.js in the course.
It's like my access is gone. Anyway, yeah, that's it for today, guys. I will, as I said, I will post the GitHub repo in the chat. Yeah, if you guys
Yeah,
prefer,
thank you, Azamat.
definitely.
oh, thank you for the class.
Absolutely. I'll see you guys next class.
Yeah, thank you. It was another kind of mind-blowing session. Thank you, Azamat, and have a good night, everybody.
Hi, guys.